What starts happening in a society where you start drawing blurry gray lines between absolute truths? What happens in your society? What's happening in this society right now? We're drawing gray lines, blurry lines between male and female. Why are we doing that? I think I know why we're doing it. I think I know. You know, you have these kids who, a lot of them do have serious problems. I don't doubt that. I mean, this girl that lives down the street from us, her name was Brooke, and now she wants to be called River, because River is non-binary. She's got these little boobies because she's turning 12, you know. She's got these little plums hanging off her chest now. These little things. They're like oversized mosquito bites, basically. And she wears tight shirts, so it's, you know, she's like basically flaunting them. Yet she's trying to tell everybody that she's not a girl. And she's getting her hair cut short, and she's wearing, you know, kind of boy pants and a girl shirt. And I mean, she's all kind of twisted up, this girl. I'm just wondering if you guys think that she got this idea on her own, that she might be non-binary or might be a boy or whatever. Because for those of you who think that she got that idea on her own, I'd be very curious to understand your reasoning as why I was never told that when I was a kid. None of my friends were ever told that when they were a kid either. And I grew up in the 70s and 80s, and it wasn't trending back then. That's why we weren't told that kind of shit, because some psychologist or psychiatrist or whoever didn't write a book about it yet, and it didn't make mainstream yet. But now that it's mainstream, now it's all over the place. I mean, not only the girl down the street says she's a boy, even though she was born with a vagina between her legs. I just went to CVS Pharmacy, and the kid that rang me up, I swear to God, I thought it was a girl. I thought it was a girl for sure. And then as he rang me up, he's like, "Have a good day," and his voice was all low. And he's like, "Oh, yeah, you too." I'm like, that was weird. Like, he was wearing like these sort of like androgynous type of clothes and androgynous glasses, and he had an androgynous hairstyle. You know, it was short, but it was kind of like permed, you know, like Pat from Saturday Night Live. I was like, what the hell? Like, it's all over the place now. It's everywhere. It's because it's a trend. It's a trend. It's the latest and greatest thing. You know? I mean, we've gone through these trends before, you know? We've gone through stuff like that as a society before. Trends. You know, they fizzle out. Grunge rock. That was pretty cool for a very short period of time. You had Soundgarden, you had Nirvana, you had Pearl Jam. Now grunge rock is no more. In fact, rock and roll for the most part is pretty much no more. You know. ADHD was a big thing. That was just coming out when I was a kid. Like when I was starting to, I think I was in junior high, and high school is when they started diagnosing kids with ADHD. That was like all of a sudden everybody was ADHD. All my friends. "Oh, I have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder." "Oh, really?" See, that's funny, because I just thought you were an asshole. Because every time I go over to your house, you know, and I say, can I play your Nintendo? And you say, "Well, just let me finish this game, and then I'll let you play my Nintendo." And then you finish that game, and then you start up another one. I'm like, "Wait a minute, I thought you said I could play." "Well, no, just let me finish. Just let me solve this level." "How long is it going to take you to solve that level?" "About 45 minutes. So you want me to sit here and watch you play video games for 2 hours at your fucking house? That doesn't mean you have ADHD. It means you're an asshole. It means that you're a spoiled little shit of a kid. You need to get your ass kicked. That's what it means. You know, you're sitting in class and you can't pay attention, and you know, you're like making distractions in the class so the other kids don't learn. Oh, he has a disease. Really? What's the disease called? Attention deficit hyperactivity. No, he's an asshole. So now all the kids that were labeled as assholes in the 50s and 60s, now all of a sudden, or, you know, problem children, you know, kids that were raised in a fucked up environment, kids were raised with, you know, maybe a father that slapped them around a little too much, or a mom that ignored them, or parents are divorced and they're going through a bunch of shit, you know, whatever it is. Just funny, like, it's funny to me that the kids from functional homes never end up having ADHD. It's always the kid from the dysfunctional home. You would tend to think that maybe it has something to do with the home they're raised in, that maybe it's not a quote hereditary disease in their brain that makes them an asshole, just that they've been through some shit, you know. And now today the trend is the non-binary, trans, gender dysphoria thing. Now all these kids, you know, they have problems, they cut themselves, they want to die, this and that. They don't feel like they fit in with society, you know, this and that. Like they have all these feelings. They feel out of place, blah, blah, blah. And they don't understand. Why do I feel like this? I don't get it. I don't get what's going on. Why do I feel like this? Why do I feel like this? And they're searching. And then one day somebody goes, you know what I bet your problem is? I bet your problem is that I know you were born with a penis, but I bet what really is happening is that you're really a girl on the inside. Or I know you were born with a vagina, but I bet what's happening is that you're really a boy inside. You know what's funny to me about this whole thing is that it's always the opposite, right? It's always, if you're a boy, you really should have been born a girl. And if you're a girl, you really should have been born a boy. Do you think maybe, just maybe, this has to do with wanting what we can't have? Maybe, just maybe, that this is more about wanting something that we can't have than it is really believing that we are born trapped in the wrong body. Do you think maybe it has something to do with, well, I just want this thing that I can't, that society tells me I can't have it, so now I want it? You think maybe that has just a little bit to do with it? I'm hinting at something, basically saying, of course, that's what the situation is. Of course, that's what it is. Of course, that's what it is. There's this thing going on in your brain. You can't put your finger on it. You don't know what it is. See, again, when I was a kid, people would be like, okay, well, here's what your problem is. A psychologist just came out with a book recently. It's called Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. And they read off all of the symptoms. And then you just say to yourself, oh my God, that's me. Yes, that is me. That is my problem. So what do I got to do to fix this? Oh, well, you got to do this and you got to do this and you got to take this medication and you got to, oh, perfect. Thank you. Perfect. And then you take that medication and it might like take the edge off of some of that shit. But in the end, you're not a different person after you take that shit. You're still an asshole, you know? But now you have a scapegoat, right? Now, when your son is acting like an asshole or your daughter's acting like an asshole, they're not to be punished for that behavior. Their behavior is to be explained to everyone else. Well, see, he has ADHD, and that's why he's a dickhead to everyone. That's why he causes all kinds of problems in class, and he can't listen. And he doesn't give a shit about anybody or anything because he has ADHD. That was the thing when I was growing up. Now it's, well, she's non-binary. I mean, they are non-binary. Whoops, I said she, sorry. It's a trend, folks. And the reason why it's a trend and what defines a trend is something that doesn't last. Ain't gonna last. I'm telling you right now, when our kids, our parents, if they ever are parents, because, you know, they might not be parents if they end up getting their genitalia lopped off. But let's just assume that they are parents. When they're parents and they have children, those children, they're not going to be non-binary. They're not going to be told that they're non-binary. They're going to be told something completely different. Completely different. And God knows what that's going to be. Who knows what it's going to be? You identify as a cat, or you identify as a fucking planet or something. Who knows? Who knows what's in store for the future? I was watching this thing, I think it was on Dr. Phil or something like that. This chick, she blinded herself on purpose. I think she put some chemicals in her eyes that like burned her eyes or burned her eyeballs out or something. I'm not exactly sure what she did, but she blinded herself on purpose. And people are like, why did you do that? And she's like, because I thought I'd be happier as a blind person. Like, okay, so you ruined your body so that you could be blind. Because why? Well, because I'm just happier now, she said. I'm not even kidding you. You can look it up. It's on YouTube somewhere. Just look up blind woman, Dr. Phil, or woman who blinds herself. She blinded herself. Now, who knows? I mean, I don't know much about the lady, but maybe she's just like, I was just so sick of seeing all the chaos and disorder and destruction in the world and all the problems, and I just had to close my eyes to it forever. I didn't want to see it anymore. Now I'm a happier person because I don't see all the ugliness. I'm better off for it now. Like, okay. I mean, the bottom line is, at the end of the day, especially if you're an adult, I would say only if you're an adult. At the end of the day, if you want to do that, I ain't going to stop you. But what I am going to stop you from doing is telling other people they should blind themselves, telling other people they should burn their eyeballs out. That's what I'm going to stop you from doing. You're a bad influence. And that's where I get labeled as a bigot, you know? Because you have that girl that lives down the street from me, and she's like, I'm non-binary, and there's no such thing as a girl, there's no such thing as a boy, and blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine. Think that all you want. But think it in your own house. Talk about it in your own house. You ain't coming into my house and spreading that shit. I got enough problems to deal with my kids. I got enough problems with my kids trying to get them to do their homework, trying to get them to brush their teeth, trying to get them to go to bed at a decent hour, trying to get them up in the morning, get them ready, you know, try to get them to go to baseball practice and do all their other stuff. The last thing I need is to have a conversation about, you know, just because I was born with a penis doesn't mean I'm a boy. It's the last thing I need. So you want to spread that nonsense, do it somewhere else. Don't bring it into my house. Does that make me a bigot? Does that make me non-inclusive because I don't want that shit in my house? If you say yes, fuck you.